I'd like to thank Chris and everyone who co-creates this wonderful conference. It's a real joy and honor to be here with you today, which also happens to be my birthday. So the title of this year's Women of Wisdom Conference is Radiate Loving Harmony, Unite Our World. When I translate this conference's title into my own soul's language, I hear, incarnate true love and transform this world. This poetic directive makes sense to my heart, but not to my mind. Especially when I look around the world and I see systemic racism, injustice, violence, poverty, addiction, abuse, disease, power-hungry leaders, corrupt corporations, and the ever-growing environmental crisis. I see extremely serious issues that demand immediate, intelligent, concrete actions. True love, as a response to this world's staggering challenges, sounds embarrassingly naive to my judgmental ego, ridiculously idealistic, like a purple bumper sticker plastered to the back of a dusty car in Northern California. It sounds like spiritual bypassing. So over the years, I have gone to marches and demonstrations, participated in social justice initiatives, listened to and learned from change agents, and started the messy, humbling, ongoing process of recognizing my privilege and dismantling my internalized whiteness and my internalized patriarchy, among other things. And my soul keeps urging me to go deeper. My soul knows, and I would venture to say every soul knows, that while each of us must take personal responsibility and do whatever we can to create positive change and alleviate suffering, it's not enough if we don't reach the root. It's not enough if we don't deal with what makes humans inhuman. It's not enough if we don't deal with what separates us from our soul, each other, and the inherent sacredness of life. Through the lens of the soul, activism and social justice work aren't enough if we don't address our lack of love. Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr. powerfully addressed and demonstrated the importance of using love and nonviolence to create social change, as are the modern female spiritual activists like Valerie Kaur of the Sikh lineage and Lila June of the Navajo and Cheyenne lineages. If you aren't familiar with a Valerie or Lila, please become familiar with them. They are extraordinary. While these spiritual revolutionaries are uniquely their own, their lineages have served as sources of wisdom and support. They have inspired me to turn toward my own spiritual lineage for guidance on how true love can transform this world. And it is this transmission from my lineage that I would like to share with you today. But before I do so, it's important to state that the spiritual lineage I belong to, and I suspect some of you belong to, isn't commonly recognized. In fact, in order to find my spiritual lineage, I have had to let go of external authorities, religious paradigms, traditional belief systems, New Age fantasies, and my own resistance, and resource the organic wisdom living within my body, and reclaim the natural authority of my soul. I invite you all to do so as well for the rest of this talk, as I share the lineage of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, who dared to incarnate true love together and apart. Now, before I continue, I want to make a few things clear. I have no interest in convincing or converting, only loving. This lineage is not Christian or exclusive or heterosexist. This lineage includes all of life. It is a lineage of unrestricted love. And therefore, it is a lineage that offers invaluable guidance to those of us who sense that love is the greatest change maker on this planet. Through my soul's perspective and my body's knowing, Mary Magdalene and Jesus delivered a desperately needed nutrient into the soil of this planet and into the soil of our souls. True love. The love they shared together was felt by all, but understood by few. It was as strong as the sun and as solid as the earth. It created a field of remembrance that both excited and upset those around them. Their love was a force to be reckoned with, and still is. So what is this true love that Magdalene and Jesus incarnated? Well, through the lens of my lineage, true love created this universe. It is the genesis of life. It is why we are here, and it is the answer blazing behind the answer to every question. True love is our truth. While it can be as tender as a caress, it also cuts like a sword through everything false, inside and outside of us. True love is the strongest, fiercest, and most powerful force in existence. To be real with you, true love makes love and light run for the hills. So how do we incarnate the most powerful force in existence and transform this world? According to Mary Magdalene and Jesus, through intimate relationship with ourselves, with each other, and with life. True love is not a lofty spiritual concept. It's a ground-level commitment in daily practice. It comes alive within us when it is shared between us. We incarnate true love by committing to know and love ourselves, all the shady and shiny parts of ourselves, and by practicing treating ourselves like we would a loved one, with presence and patience and curiosity and acceptance and care and compassion. We incarnate true love by committing to know and love each other, our romantic partners, family, friends, co-workers, strangers, and our so-called enemies, And by practicing love throughout the trials and triumphs, agreements and disagreements, wounding and healing, fights and farts, struggles and cuddles, rejection and disconnection of ordinary human relationship. As we all can attest, shit gets real in relationship. Every kind of relationship. And we can lash out or check out and avoid true love's challenging invitations, or we can accept the divine perfection of humanity's imperfection and consciously step into the fire of evolutionary relating. Magdalene and Jesus chose the fire. Magdalene and Jesus chose to be in an evolutionary relationship together. Not just for their own personal evolution, but for the collective's evolution. Magdalene and Jesus were committed to being here. They were devoted to loving here. They didn't just marry each other. They married life. Everything they did for every living thing. This is the true meaning of relationship. This is the metaphysics of true love. It has to land somewhere so it can spread everywhere. Jesus and Magdalene's devotion to their intimate relationship developed their stamina to handle enormous hardships, and it gave their actions a bigger impact. For example, during the darkest, most painful time in their lives, when he was hanging on that cross and she was wailing beneath him, and friends had betrayed them, and humanity had turned away from them, and everything they loved and stood for and created looked like it was being destroyed. His heart and her heart did not close, but blasted wide open. So we could remember the unbeatable power of true love. No matter what has happened or been hidden or misconstrued over the past 2 millennia, and no matter what religion or non-religion we participate in, this epic demonstration of true love offered by Jesus and Magdalene and many others beats and burns inside each and every one of us. However, incarnating true love isn't the most popular or understood practice for creating social change. Because incarnating true love doesn't often look like a win. True love doesn't fight back. True love refuses to play that never-ending game. Now, Mary Magdalene and Jesus definitely rocked and often overturned political, social, and religious votes, especially those that were acting unjust or abusing their power. But as Gandhi reminds us, there's a big difference between forcing change and being it. Not fighting back kept Magdalene and Jesus on mission and their souls intact. It kept them out of the game and in their hearts. It allowed them to incarnate the most powerful force in the universe, true love, which has a way bigger and way better plan than anything our egos or minds can currently conceive. Put differently, through most lenses focused on that crucifixion, it looked like Jesus had lost. But the radical truth is, we only lose when we close our hearts and stop loving. Jesus and Magdalene demonstrated that the power that comes through our hearts is a power that can never be taken from us. This is true power. This is love's power. This is our soul's fire, which never burns out. It is not from this earth, but it is for this earth. To be clearer than a crystal, incarnating true love is not about martyrdom. It's also not about bypassing the human reality because we believe in or understand the divine reality. True love requires holding both realities together. We see the bigger picture and we dedicate ourselves to the smaller scene. We sit down and pray or meditate, and we stand up and act. Not just non-violently, but also lovingly. Not just toward our neighbor, but also toward our enemy. This is what Mary Magdalene did. Although she was hit hard, she loved harder. Yes, Jesus died for love, but Mary Magdalene stayed here, right in the thick of it, like all of you, and lived for love. Living and loving as she did after her beloved was crucified, with grief, ongoing persecution, misogyny, slander, erasure of her spiritual role, betrayal by those who once followed Jesus, and as a single mother, is possibly an even greater teaching than his. This is what makes them a power couple. Jesus and Magdalene demonstrate that no matter what happens to us, to others, or to life on this planet, we can still choose love. And when we do, even if it appears like the opposite, love wins. There's one last catch. The organic, deep-rooted type of change that true love creates takes time. We might not see the results of our brave actions right away. We might even feel beaten or weary. But what we have actually done is widen and prune the path of true love for others to follow in their own footsteps. Little by little, lifetime by lifetime, we stretch our hearts and this planet open so more and more love can pour in. A few reminders before I close. To create deep-rooted change on this planet, we must include love. An open heart wins every battle. Relationship is where it's at. Loving ourselves, loving each other, loving life. It is by consciously tending to all these relationships that we develop the strength and the stamina and create the container and the space for true love to have its way with us and through us, the entire world. If you are curious, you can learn more about this lineage and my soul's intimate relationship with Magdalene and Jesus in my book, Revelations, A Soul's Journey to Becoming Human. And you can learn about this lineage through your own body and soul. Till we meet again, ravish your mind with your heart. Dare to incarnate true love and transform this world. Thank you.